finally, things are looking like they're starting to slow down, and this summer is opening up some really good opportunities where you don't have to get into multiple offer situations like you likely would have seen over this last spring and the spring before. And the spring before that. And the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board has just released their most recent stats package, so that's what we're going to look at in today's video. But of course, because these stats are out, that makes this the Surrey Report. And because it's summer and my team thinks that they're allowed to take vacation, here is the cat with the most recent City of Surrey benchmark pricing.
Detached homes in the City of Surrey last month saw a 59% increase in sales year over year. Our benchmark price was $1,665,200. That is down 6.3% since last year, but up 2.3% since just last month. Townhouse benchmark price came in at $890,000 even. That is down 1.2% since the same time last year, but up 2.2% since last month. In condos, we are basically the exact same price as this time last year at $555,100. That is down only $600 from last year at minus 0.1% and up 0.8% month over month.
Wow, thank you. That was different. Now, those numbers were for the City of Surrey itself, but the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board contains a whole heck of a lot more real estate and property and area than just the City of Surrey. So that's what we're going to dive into here today. But of course, and as always, if you would like to stay up to date on my local market of Surrey and the Fraser Valley, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and make sure you click the like button to help me get this information out to more people and hopefully soon get this channel to more than 10,000 subscribers strong. And of course, if you need my help, whether or not you're trying to also flood onto the market as you're about to see with listings here in Surrey, or if you are looking to take advantage of maybe getting to pick and choose a little by purchasing a property here in my market, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. And now let's hop into the stats. In case you're unaware, the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board puts out publicly this stats package on their website every single month, followed by a bit of a blurb from usually the president of the real estate board and the CEO as well. This is the section I want to focus on here today, and that is just basically the overall marketplace. Sales last month hit 1,935. I just want to give you a bit of a reference here. About 1,700 is the average for June. So we, in this crazy, what's supposed to be down market, very expensive cost of living type of marketplace, we've actually seen an increase in the overall amount of sales. Even on the 10-year average, and I want to say the 40-year average is something like 1,300 sales in that month. This is way up from last year. I mean, I don't know if you remember last year in June, we were in a pretty depressing time. It was a really, really slow month at 1,281 sales. Prices were coming down dramatically. That means we had 50% more sales this month than the same time last year. But now we are comparing to an ultra low year, and now we're an above average year. So this shouldn't be any big surprise, but we are also up 13% from last month. Now, generally speaking, April and May are going to be your busiest months, but this June was even busier than May. New listings is very interesting. We're actually up just a little bit over last year, and we're down from last month, but the real story is in the active listings. 5,944 active listings. At this time last year, we were at 6,474. And that's about where the market topped out last year. And you can see that we have increased about another 400 this month over last month. So this goes with what I've been trying to tell everybody over the last 2 or 3 weeks. We are showing signs that the market is going to have a slow summer compared to where we have just been. Now, last year at this time, interest rates were increasing. Remember, this is just before the big 1% increase rate that we had last July 13th, but we are expecting interest rates to stay higher longer, as they like to say. So I do see finally inventory starting to come to the market and stay there a little bit longer, which is a very good thing for the overall health of the market to stop prices from increasing so quickly. That being said, we still need to get up to about that 6,500 active listing mark continuously as an average for the year to get to a spot where we have a healthy amount of listings on the marketplace. And finally, real estate agents like me can stop complaining that we don't have enough product to sell. We are starting to see some properties stay on the market for upwards of 20 or 30 days, which is nice to see. And that ideally means that we can stop it with all of these bidding wars, at least for the next 45 to 60 days until we find out what the market has to bear for us in September. Average price, believe it or not, is actually up year over year 5.6%. and is up another 1.1% since just last month. But that takes into account all of the property types across the entire Fraser Valley board area from North Delta all the way out to Mission. Sliding over to the year-to-date stats, in 2023 so far, we have 8,274 sales compared to 2022's 9,935. Now in 2022, most of those sales actually happened in the first 3 months of the year. So this number we could very well see start to reverse itself as we get into the second half of this year, but currently down 16.7%. New listings coming to the market, though, this is the trend you're going to see. We had 21,000 new listings come to the market by this point last year. That is down 25% to only under 16,000 new listings year to date. And what this is all telling me is that we are heading into what is hopefully a more normalized market. And wouldn't we all absolutely love to see that? Let's break it down into the actual types of detached townhomes and condos. Sales up in detached, up 76%. We only had 385 sales last June. We had 680. I can't believe I'm saying this stuff. I honestly can't. And we're down in active listings on the marketplace. Benchmark price in detached has not yet recovered, but average price has. And if you're one of those people, now benchmark is where I want to be. It's where I think we should be looking at prices continuously. However, some people say median's the only thing important. Some people say average is the only thing important. Well, if you are the people that say median and average is the most important numbers to use, the market is up since last year. Sliding on over into townhouses. Townhouse sales are up 31% across the entire Fraser Valley marketplace. We are not yet back to year-over-year pricing. As you see, townhouses have still slid back down. I'm going to show you that here in just a little bit. And averages, I mean, we're within 1% now of the average of the same time last year. And each, even though just barely on median, each of the benchmark and average prices have gone positive. Keep sliding over into apartments across the entire Fraser Valley board area. 39% more sales in June of this year than last, and that's up another 10% since just last month. But in apartments, in benchmark pricing, in median pricing, and in average pricing, prices are still down from exactly 1 year ago, and they're starting to even out here with a little bit above and below on the month-over-month numbers. Now, I highly encourage you to go and download this statistics package for yourself each and every month, because you can break into whether or not you're in Abbotsford, whether or not you're in Mission, and in each one of the asset classes. You can also check out South Surrey, White Rock, Langley, North Delta. And the cool part about the stats package, these are the numbers that we report on here. Thank you, Kat, for reporting on those. But Central Surrey and Cloverdale and North Surrey, they're all broken out individually because they are such large populated areas. Interesting note, areas like Central Surrey, which is not Surrey Center, by the way, that's in North Surrey, confusing, I know, is up 100% year over year. Number of sales happening. Average price is up 4.7%. Average price in Cloverdale is up 7.6%. Remember, Cloverdale went insane a year and a half ago, and then it absolutely imploded this time last year. Cloverdale condos appear to be taking a beating still at minus 10% year over year. But that's kind of hard to believe as well, because Cloverdale condos are apparently down 9% since just last month in average pricing, meaning that there was probably just higher priced properties selling last month compared to this month. Now, if you're a visual learner like me, I always like to come down to this graph here, and this light blue section, those are the active listings. You can tell here that between, let's call it 2008 and 2016, we had a lot more inventory on the market. This is what we're talking about. When we say there's no inventory, just look at that from a visual point of view. Look at over those 5 or 6 or 7 years, how many more properties were available on the market. And look where we've been over the last little while. And now we're just creeping up to about 6,000 active listings on the market. A number that we didn't get to from about, let's call it half or beginning of 2007 all the way. It didn't dip back down again for almost 9 years. And as you can see, sales are starting to creep up again, and hopefully they're going to start tailing off slightly for the rest of the summer. Consumption rate is one I love to look at, and you'll notice that we're starting to bounce around about that 30% range. Between 30 and 35% is where we start slipping back into that seller's market. According to the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, the entire marketplace ended up at exactly 33%, meaning 1 in 3 homes is selling each month, and that is putting us in towards, again, the upward pressure. However, nobody is trying to fake the fact that we are no longer here where we were with all of this insanity where you had a 70 to 95% turnover in listings. Just in case you're wondering, this blue stripe here is when we are in a balanced market condition, and anything below that is in a buyer's market or a really, really bad marketplace. You will notice that no matter what you look at, the market as a whole did not dump into a buyer's market last year. There was some areas in Detached where it did, where it was doing really, really bad, but the marketplace as a whole, including condos, it stayed in a balanced market all last year. Home price index, I'm not going to bore you with because it's a lot more fun to look at in this graph. Now, you can see that the red line is the detached home market in benchmark pricing, and you can see the fall. And I would say if you look at this from about peak, we're about halfway back from the peak. Townhouses are doing about the same, and condos are probably more than half, maybe even 3/4 of the way back up towards the peak of the market that happened in March of last year. Now, this is the graph that people like to refer to and say it's going to be a dead cat bounce. Well, that cat's might not be dead. It might be a live cat bounce, because that thing is really taken off again. And then back when we were just about to crest here a little bit, people were calling it the head and shoulders, meaning here's a shoulder, here's the head. There should have been another shoulder and then down again. But those doom and gloomers, unfortunately, were wrong. And you can't use those stock market analogies in the real estate market, because this is not a liquid asset like stocks. And my favorite one, if you're just looking at detached home prices over the years, well, here they are. Since 1979, when the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board started tracking at, I don't know, let's call it $70,000 back then, you can see that it's just a continuous upward trend. We've got these massive surges. This is usually how it goes, right? You'll get a massive surge. This was actually our biggest surge year over year was 1981, even though it looks so small on the graph now. Then you'll end up with a whole bunch of flat, and then you'll end up with a surge and a whole bunch of flat and a surge, and that's the way it goes. So what I'm really hoping is that that starts to continue and we start to see some flattening off. You'll notice just right there, that last little bit, it actually has started to go just a little bit flat, which I think is good for everybody, because nobody wants to see this crazy increase in price happen like it did last year. So there you go. That's my boring stats video for the month. And remember that if you need help navigating my market of Surrey and the Fraser Valley, you can always book a call with me using the link in the description below. Thank you for subscribing, clicking the like button, and we'll see you in a couple of days.